Hey everybody, how you guys doing? Let's go. Let some people jump in here real quick. Hope everyone had a good day. A lot of good news, a lot of corruption going on, of course, but it's like this has to come to an end pretty damn soon. We're gonna go over some numbers and some things, but it's like it's getting basically worse than it's ever been ever in every single aspect. So we'll get into that in a minute. I'm just gonna let some more people jump in here real quick. Grab a drink here. I know I'm late. Sorry about that, everybody. I had to do some things. Alrighty. So let's just get right into this here quick. I'm gonna zoom in so everyone can see a little bit. Alrighty. So right now we're at 2.568 billion. Our goal right now is to get to 2.7 billion. I believe we can still get there very easily as long as everybody goes and we make Dumb Money a massive, massive, massive opening weekend. This is going to be everybody from all stocks coming together to show them a big fuck you to shorts. I believe this movie could easily, we only got Friday and Saturday for this quarter, but I easily believe we can make 50, 60, 70 million there, and then easily for the next couple days get to that number. So I believe we can still hit 2.7. We know 2.6 and a half was where AMC was the most, where they finally hit profitability. Sorry. So 2.7 would be a big deal, especially if we went more towards 30%. We went down to 28.8% in attendance, and we need to get that more towards the 30%. Now, AMC right away when this quarter started said that they themselves were having one of their best quarters in company history, which shows you that attendance number did go up. So I believe we will be more towards that 30%, which we should be more profitable. Like I said, we want to hit that 2.7. That's a huge number for us right now. So everybody this week, if you can, go see a movie. Now, the writer's strike, they reached an agreement. We have been waiting for this for a while. This is huge news. This was a big, big deal for AMC. Now, obviously, we already lost Dune this quarter. We were going to lose a lot of content going forward. So for shorts that we're planning on this, hurting us a lot more. 420, thank you, I appreciate that. For shorts, when AMC a couple months ago, they said, hey, we don't expect to be profitable till 2024. But we're profitable in Q2. We should be more profitable in Q3. And I think in Q4, we should kill it. We'll get to that in a second here. But a lot of these shorts were hoping, hey, with Dune getting pushed back, that's why that Taylor Swift movie was such a big deal, because it's going to replace what we lost with Dune and then some. So this is a massive deal. This is a massive hurdle for AMC. Now we're getting all of our content back, so let's get back on track here. But let's get to the Taylor Swift concert, because this was announced today. This is huge news once again. This is now going to be a global. It's going to 100 countries worldwide. They're now talking to 7,500 movie theaters globally. This is going to go to a lot of theater chains. So this distribution percent, they're going to make a ton of revenue off this. One of the things I was also really excited to see when it comes to this distribution, which we'll get, actually I'll just switch over to it right away. One of the things that it comes to with the distribution here as well is we looked at one of our main competitors in Cineworld, and we weren't able to come to an agreement with them for them to show the Taylor Swift. Now, some people were like, man, that's a loss of movie revenue, blah, blah, blah. Wasn't a bad thing. That's a lose for both companies. No, actually, that's a huge win for AMC. You now have, basically, I think this is going to be the biggest movie in all of Q4. And now one of your competitors can't show it, but they can show it at their Regals. So you're still making distribution profit off of them. But now you have cities that have a Cineworld and an AMC, and now they're forced to instead go to the AMC. So this is not a loss for AMC in any way, shape, or form. This is basically saying, hey, one of our biggest competitors can't show the biggest movie in Q4 that we control. That's huge. Like I said, that's a big, big middle finger to Cineworld. So great job doing that. I fucking love it when we go ahead and, like I said, retail's got to start going. You guys, we have competitors. And I've been saying this, you have opponents. You have people that want to do your investment harm. That's their only goal right now. And you have to look back at them. This is why I've been saying attack these certain things. Get out of payment for order flow. Get out of these banks. Stop playing options if you don't know the Greek. Stop playing them if you're getting smashed, because we're getting smashed on Max Payne for fucking every week for years. And we're doing the same patterns. It's there's a lot more we can go into. We'll get into that in a little bit. But we have opponents, these short sellers. And when you can give them a big middle finger, you guys, that's the stuff we need to be focusing on. Attacking how they make money, because that's how they survive. They live off credit. So if we can sit there and attack their sub-companies, all their companies, all of their collateral, that's what you want to do. You want to attack your opponent's collateral. I've been saying that for so long. Now, for people that don't think that this Taylor Swift is going to be a big deal, this was announced, this 125 million number, this was announced before it was going to go worldwide and before AMC posted all of this. And so this number is going to drastically jump. And if you guys remember, it was a couple weeks ago, they were already at 75 million in pre-sales, and that was like 3 weeks ago. So we're probably more towards 100 million in pre-sales already. And now I showed everybody the Odin website. They were actually had another waiting list on the Odin website. So it's going to be another thing where they smash pre-sale records all over the globe. They're going to smash them all over the globe. So like I said, people that don't think this Taylor Swift movie is going to be insane, this right here is going to be more towards the 200 million plus. Plus you got the pre-sale numbers. After the first weekend, this movie might already make 300 million plus very, very easily. This is going to replace Dune and then some for AMC. So like I said, this is going to be a huge quarter for AMC. We should be very, very profitable, especially when a lot of dumb money is going to go into Q4. There's a lot of good movies in Q4. I believe Q4 is going to be a very, very good quarter for us at AMC. This is why I think they are attacking it as hard as they can. They've dropped the price to all-time lows. This is why they're doing every last thing they can, because they see AMC is doing things like this. They're continuously coming up with new revenue streams. He talked about how he wanted wine before, and then the next day he said, well, we're also looking into beer too. That's exactly what we wanted him to do. If AMC can sit here and keep cutting the middleman out and keep generating larger profit margins across their entire company, what more can you ask? If they can sit there and keep on, like I said, imagine if they sign 3 or 4 more of these concerts next year, and all of a sudden there's an extra 1 billion plus in revenue for AMC just through concerts. That's not even talking about any of this other stuff. So like I said, AMC's got a very bright future, and I believe that is why they're attacking it harder than they've ever been. Because finally, AMC is going to start to get to a point where they can start paying down debt, finally by not diluting the stock, but by doing it through revenue and through profits. And that's exactly what we want to have happen. Now, we all saw this bullshit, and it's just, this is what is a fucking joke. And this is just shows all the things that we've shown you. This is when I showed you the iceberg thing, and all this stuff these guys sit there and do to, oh, we're fucked, we're wrong. No, you're not. They will do any and every single possible way to cheat. You guys saw that Citadel was fined, Goldman Sachs was fined for mismarking shorts as longs. And this is the thing that they don't talk about. So how many of these were mismarked shorts as longs, and then those longs were used as locates to fill other orders? It's like they sit there and go, well, they just mismarked shorts as longs, no big deal. But then what did they do with the longs after? Did they meet margin requirements because of the longs? And this is the problem. These guys can sit there, and as we know, self-report, change numbers. They know when these regulators are coming. Even if they do get caught, it's a $7 million penalty. If you guys look down this, incorrectly marked millions of orders, not short sales, not short sales, orders. How many short sales were in each of these orders? How long was the long position order for? That's the thing they don't tell you, because the number is probably fucking insanity. And then they use these false locates as locates later on. Then you look over and you got Goldman Sachs, and they're doing the same thing. 163 million transactions over a decade. A decade. Like, this shit is fucking insanity. Can you imagine if we could mark our stocks as ever we wanted? Oh, these are short sales today. Well, now they're longs today. These guys are doing whatever they want. They self-report, and then guess what? They're on the regulation board that comes in and fucking checks them out. And the thing that pissed me off the most about this Citadel thing is they walked up, and after all of this, they go, we're going to charge Citadel with making sure that their policies and their code are up to date. Why would you have them make sure that they're in charge of it? Shouldn't the regulators say, hey, your shit's not up to date and it's incorrect. We're going to make sure we're going to be in charge of this getting up to date, fixed, and make, like I said, the shit that these guys can do and get away with is a fucking joke. Because like I said, a lot of people look at this and go, oh, they were mismarking this. But again, how many of these were now locates for other things? Turning into IOUs, phantom shares, we call all of these things. Market maker exemptions. So this shit is a fucking absolute joke. And I sit there and one of the number one questions people ask me, and I sit there and I'm like, God, I wish we could do something like that. But I mean, what do you really do? Brigham, should we go sue the SEC in a class action? Well, does that really help us? Because who's going to end up paying for that in the end of the day? Taxpayers, us, will end up paying from it. The SEC is going to go over to the government and say, we're broke. We need a bailout. So then we're going to end up paying ourselves in the long run. And then on top of that, now the SEC is going to say, we're even more broke. And now we can't even go after these guys to even give them their $7 million penalties. We're just going to let them fucking wild west. So which they're already doing. But I mean, so it's like, what do? Do you sue the regulators? Do you sue the fucking brokerage firms that are going and saying, they're selling me a share. They're telling me I'm getting a share. They can, they have the responsibility, the ability to say no to a market maker. I'm not going to let you fill this order. I'm going to go fill it on a lit exchange. They have that ability. So what do? Do we sell? Do you go after the brokers? Do you go after the politicians? Like, I've been sitting, like, everybody asks me, what do we do to you know, like, this is what I say all the time. The number one thing you can do is educate everybody you know on what's going on. Why is the world so fucked up? Because the Federal Reserve printed trillions of dollars in the last couple of years. Trillions. You don't just print trillions of dollars. And then what did they do with that money? They gave it to criminals. They gave it to banks that stole and over-leveraged themselves 100 to 1. They didn't solve the problem. They threw some money on it. And then the guys that committed the crime in the first place did it 100 times over. Because there's no law for them. You see the politicians, I mean, look at this next fucking thing. Goldman, like I said, it's always the same people. Hold on, before we get to that. Goldman Sachs, and this is just two companies alone. I can show you guys the number for every single one if you really want me to in chat. Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan alone have committed 374 felonies, and they have paid $55 billion in fines. If you've paid $55 billion in fines, how much did you steal? How many hundreds of billions? How many trillions have you stolen through these crimes? Because we already know they pay less than 1% of what they stole. So if you go ahead and do 1% of, and this is 1% of what they took, holy fuck. 374 felonies. Before I get to this. This blows my mind. This blows my mind. This needs to be on every news outlet 24/7. This literally should be the only thing covered in the world. Nothing else matters. This is the biggest. People keep asking, give us the client list. Give us the client list. You guys, you got better than the client list. You got his partner. You got his fucking partner. You got the people who processed over $1 billion in human trafficking transactions. You got his partner. You got Walter White. And when you caught Walter White, he ended up paying $75 million. On top of that, they paid another 260, what, 260 or 240 million? They paid another 290 million So J.P. Morgan, Jeffrey Epstein went to jail forever, then got hung, which is what... I'm not going to cry for the fucking pile of shit. You're not going to see me shed a fucking tear for that guy. But J.P. Morgan, who was basically, without them processing the payments and all this, and being involved in the enterprise, none of this was possible. J.P. Morgan backed him and all the purchases for the islands. We caught Walter White, we caught the fucking guy, and we literally told him, just pay $75 million, even though you have proof of over $1 billion in transactions. This is insanity. On so many levels, this is the most corrupt thing I have ever seen in my entire life. They were processing human trafficking. They were processing the payments for them. Jeffrey Epstein had his money there. He gave him, they gave him all the loans for him to buy his airline, all of this. Them. And they're still trading today. They're just paying for it. And once they settle with this money, these victims can't come out and talk about it again. They've reached a settlement. They can't come out and talk about this again. This is fucking true insanity. This is crazier than anything you've ever seen in a fucking movie. Now, you guys know I love to tell criminals to their face that they're pieces of shit. So, once Dougie Fresh here got sued by the SEC and all the information came out that he had a backup database and everybody in his sub companies, his primary company of Virtue, they all had access to this database. And basically it was live data. There was 75 users in it at a time. You don't go in a backup database for more than a couple minutes. They never logged out. Well, what did I tell you guys? When 75 users wasn't enough, Dougie Fresh had them raised it to 125 users. And then they were going to raise it again, but got caught. That's when they got caught. They got caught because they raised the user limit, pretty much. So, these guys are all given all the shit. And what is the first thing I said? Hey, Doug, I have one question for you. Just one. Are any of your employees that access that backup database, are any of them using chat programs to give that information out for insider trading? SEC has collected thousands of staff messages used on private devices for more than a dozen major investment companies, including whatever the fuck, Apollo, KKR, Blackstone, Citadel, and I guarantee you Dougie Fresh is going to be involved in all of this because this is what they're doing. They're people. I showed you guys the shit with Citadel. Citadel's own employees, why they were setting up other firms, why they were creating their own firms, had access to Citadel's database, live data feed, and was using it, why they were setting up their new firm and trading with that information to raise capital for their new firm. So they didn't have to go out and become public. They could just cheat and steal, and now they own the whole thing. None of this shit that should be secure as fuck is even looked at, secured. The regulators aren't even watching their backup shit. And we told you they have backup servers. They got this hidden over here in the Cayman Islands. They got swaps over here. They have master agreements. I told you guys that nobody even knows about. What about the IST agreements? All the other countries just said, fuck it. They're so fucked, we're not even going to fuck around with them. And guess who's in charge of the fucking World Bank? The United States. So the United States is still in charge of who oversees these new contracts. So their hands are in everything. They're at the top of fucking everything. Phase 6 didn't work because I thought the World Bank would hold us accountable. And we own the World Bank. But Dougie Fresh, like I said, these guys are out there giving all of our information out. Everyone is profiting off every crime in the world because they don't care. Because if they get caught, it's a $7 million fucking fine for 75, 30 million, 50 million, 100 million in fucking profit. They don't give a fuck. It's insanity. This crime, the amount of white-collar crime in the United States, the amount of money that it depletes from our economy is more breaking news than anything in the world, but it's never covered. And then they act like it's no big deal. Oh, short selling's no. We'll get into some short selling data here in a second. Oh, short selling's no big deal. It's good for the economy. There's nothing showing that short selling's not bad for the economy. Well, short selling when they have access to insider information, when you have a market maker and a hedge fund, which Dougie's also getting in trouble for, then it becomes a fucking problem. I tell you guys all the time, politicians are not going to come in because they're all paid off and bribed. They're all paid off and bribed by the same fucking criminals. Sam Bankman-Fried's dad, Fried, whatever his stupid name is, dad held an advisory role at a top Democratic dark money network. And this is what I'm telling you guys. All of these fucking guys, you don't even, everyone's like, well, we sit there and we look at, and we can look at how much through some of these websites, you don't even fucking know. You look at how much these guys say they donate. There's amount of donations you guys don't know because they donated through sub-companies, through Caymans, through this, through that, through dark money companies that you don't even know about. You guys think that Ken Griffin is only giving those guys money? No, he's using Citadel and all this other shit to give them all sorts of money that they can do dark money that you don't even know about. And you'll never fucking know about. All of these politicians are being paid like criminals to just turn around, as we all know. And then all the criminals, they either become on the politicians, they become on the regulator boards for banks, or they just become on the fucking regulator boards for the stock market, and then they blackmail every single fucking one of them because they're all Jeffrey Epstein freaks. I showed you guys Project Flicker, or Operation fucking Flicker. And I'm not going to go super into it, but once again, if you did not read Operation Flicker, if you think it's a joke, here's the Department of Defense criminal investigation. There was tons of arrests. All of these fuckers have national security secrets, and they all were being blackmailed because they were doing child fucking pornography. This is insanity, and this alone should have never been defunded. This should have went, all the money went. All of these sick fucks, just like in the banking industry in 2008, got away with it and said, fuck it, we'll go even bigger. I fucking hate the crime. And it's like, Mafia came in, they figured out, hey, let's just get the bankers involved. And now it's like, what a lot of times, so what I talk about with JP Morgan, this is how I say JP Morgan is, and a lot of, just so people understand. JP Morgan is Al Capone of the United States. And I'm dead serious. They have so much assets and this and that, and they do so much fucking corruption. They do everything. They don't give a fuck because they basically literally own the United States because they have so much asset and leverage over the entire country. They can do fucking 274 felonies and they can pay $29 billion in fines. And then at the same exact time, while doing that, people are saying that the CEO of that exact enterprise should be the fucking president of the United States. This is shit you can't even make up. This is insanity on a whole new level. Bank of America. All of these fucking assholes. And I showed you guys. $1 trillion has left bank deposits. $1 trillion. Rates are going to stay. They're not here. Powell said they're not going anywhere. Don't expect cuts. They might pause for a second, but they also said they would adjust, and they're going to need to adjust and raise again. But you're going to see 8%. You actually just saw 8% for 30-year mortgages not even a week ago. They're here to stay. These unrealized losses for these banks are going to get worse and worse. And they're just going to keep getting worse. Bank of America, if you're in them, get the fuck out of there. Holy crap. Run. Run away. Get the fuck out of there. I already showed you they're living off federal home loans. They have a total unrealized loss of $106 billion. 34% of all the reported banks is just in Bank of America. Holy fuck. This is unheard of. 2009, they got a 1.2 secret trillion The mega banks, they got a 1.2 trillion secret bailout from the feds. Why is inflation here? Because the feds printed money for the banks instead of for the people. They don't work for you. They work for the people that will get them rich on the side. Inflation is not here because of shortage of anything. Inflation is here because corporations can gouge the hell out of you and there's no repercussions. Inflation is here because the government prints and then we spend it faster than we can print, but we don't spend it on bettering the economy. We don't spend it on our people. We spend it on nonsense. We spend it on military contracts. We spend it on things that help the rich get richer. That's it. That is what America does now. U.S. total debt jumped by $100 billion since it crossed $33 trillion exactly 1 week ago. We're already at $33.1 billion. We have a government that can't stop spending. And then when we look over at them and say, don't you think this is a problem? Nope. Why would this be an issue? This is an issue because what I have told you, the United States, and I'm going to show you the data, and I'm going to show you something that is going to be one of the biggest bubbles you're ever going to see in your entire life. And it's coming. And it's going to be bigger than the housing crash. It's going to be bigger than all of these things you guys could even think about. This is something that somebody's going to blink in this thing I'm going to show you. And when it happens, there's going to be devastation. There's going to be fucking devastation. And I hope it's on the hedge fund side, because fuck these piles of shit. Right now, this is making rates, and I told you, you're going to see rates just spike and spike. And they're going to keep spiking on these treasuries. Why? Because other countries are selling hundreds of billions of treasuries. 7.6 trillion is due next year. It's maturing. They're going to have to renew that. People are going to look over and say, I need to renew that at a fucking massive rate. If you want me to renew this, give me incentive. They're going to have to raise these again. These rates are already at massive levels. Like I said, it's going to keep going. The death spiral is started. People are going to keep leaving banks, and people are going to keep going into money markets. People are going to keep going into treasury bonds because there is zero reason to stay in a bank. Well, what is that doing? I showed you guys a couple months ago, 2.5 months ago. Hedge funds are shorting treasury bonds, and everybody is pointing to this. This is a crisis. This is a fucking crisis. Everybody, the IMW, the World Bank literally said, not even a week ago, you can look this up, this is a crisis coming, and this could be a collapse like we've never seen. Somebody's gonna get fucking slaughtered. Hedge funds are shorting treasuries at historic levels. Asset managers are buying, like I said, market money funds at historic levels. Who's gonna blink first? Who's gonna get fucked first? This is a bubble nobody's looking at. The treasury bonds, the treasury market, money markets, hedge funds are destroyed. There's liquidity over here. We better attack the living fuck out of it. This is their problem right now. They're not using any money ever that they print. And guess what? I showed you a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to show you again. It's even worse now. Their ability to print money is basically non-existent. M1 is drying up. Hold on before we get to that. So you're going to have, like I said, they're sitting there moving everything everywhere, pushing it to this pile under the rug, to this corner. We're going to get into more data here in a second. The fucking carpet is 20 feet off the ground, and they're looking at you guys saying there's no dirt under there. The housing market, the housing market is the least of our concern. That's just going to be unaffordable, and it's going to get more unaffordable, and it's going to get more unaffordable, and they're going to keep building, they're going to keep having, and I just showed you, which is what's fucked up now, is because they were getting bailed out because all these corporations were buying up all these houses, these single-family units. They wanted to own 40%, but then I just showed you last week, they finally capped it off. They're done buying. They can't afford to buy any more of these single-family units. You now have realtors fucking quitting everywhere. They have no money. There's nothing coming in. These guys are losing their jobs. what was it, 3 weeks ago on Twitter, I showed you the number of realtors just plummeting. There's no money there to be made. Nobody is buying. I'm going to skip that for a little bit. Let's get into some other stuff, though. Let's start getting into some real problems that these guys... I told you these problems are going to start amplifying, and then they're going to amplify to a point where they can't control it, and that point is coming, and that point is starting to come faster than I thought it was going to. I told you a month ago that these corporations are starting to file bankruptcies at an alarming rate. And these aren't just small corporations. These aren't just mom and pop shops. These are guys with assets over 10 million, 20 million. I was showing you the 50 million mark. These guys are filing bankruptcies at twice the rate. Sorry, near times triple the rate. These guys, look at these spikes, you guys. These guys are, you cannot destroy your middle class. You cannot destroy your middle class because that is, I already showed you, these guys live off credit. They live off all of their sub-companies. They live off all their corporations. They sit there and they cook the books. I showed you about Coke. I've showed you about supply chain financing. I've shown you all of their little schemes to boost numbers. These corporations are freaking broke, and now they don't have anybody spending money there. Who is your number one spender in your country? It's the middle class. So when they go away, you only have poor people buying. Well, they're not going to be enough to support your companies. They're going to start crashing and crashing. And now these guys are going to run into problems because all of their leverage was in their companies. All their collateral was in their companies. All their collateral was in, hey, we got this and this. Now I need to sell off some shares. You're going to start seeing a lot of these CEOs, tons of CEOs in the next couple months, like they've been, continuously sell off. But I think it's going to be a lot harder than you've seen for a while. You're going to see a market crash. Everything is pointing to that. If you look over here, bankruptcy filings have reached levels on par with the 2008 Great Depression and the 2020 COVID pandemic. At the peak, we are actually now above it. We have now surpassed that. After each one of these peaks, shortly after, was a crash. You cannot do this. You cannot keep stretching your economy as much as we are doing and just saying everything is okay. There's going to be side effects in every single sector. People, and this is what I told you guys, this is why I'm saying it's so bad. This is why education, this is why I just want to show you the corruption every day. This is why I don't just go on every day and, hey, let's talk about AMC and, oh, this is going to make it squeeze. And no. All of this shit, we need to know all this. You cannot stop this. How do we stop this? We continue to educate the world. You continue to expose more. You don't let shit like this go. Every one of you, don't just watch my video. Show people you know this. Show people you know this. Have them show people you know this. If you have a Twitter, look at, you see right here. You see I tweeted this. Go on my page and retweet it. Don't let this fucking die off. That is our problem, is we have so much more reach around the world than people realize. But we sit there and say every little story doesn't matter. No, keep exposing them. Eventually, so many eyes get on it. That is when we start to win. We have to educate the masses. We are the ants. We are the ants. They are the grasshoppers. When we figure out, I mean, look at this. I'm not a religious person. I'm not. I mean, if you guys look at all this stuff and it talks about pharaohs and Egypts and all that stuff and how these guys, they tax their slaves. 20% income tax. 20%. The United States now, we pay 24% income tax, along with 7.65 FICA taxes on top of income, or on top of sales tax, property tax, gas tax. Fuck, you got capital gains tax. I mean, name it. You can think of a tax on a tax on a tax on a tax. I mean, what people are allowing, like, and what people just kind of like, I mean, the shit that you're seeing, we'll get into this in a minute. The shit that you're seeing every day is like shit that is unfucking heard of. Like I said, it's like we need the, I don't even know. The fucking problem with this is like they own the fucking media. They own so much shit. They have so much fucking power. And this is what I was trying to say. You should not have companies that have more money, more assets than countries. And that's what you have. You have monopolies that became bigger than monopolies. They're corporate empires. Why do I call them corporate empires? They have more money, more reach, and more power than any empire in the history of the world. More than the Roman Empire. The Roman empires didn't have worldwide reach like these corporations do. These corporations have say in every single government around the fucking world that they're in because they're so freaking massive and powerful, and they need these places for this economy, and they're so rich they're just buying off politicians. Like I said, I thought Phase 6 was going to do something more, but then I realized every one of these fucking world leaders are in on it. They're all fucking in on it. They're all doing the same ISDA crap. They're all moving shit over at sub-companies around other countries. It's just a fucking complete gong show of a joke. But like I said, you're going to also start seeing, we'll get to that in a second, but what you're also going to start seeing, this motherfucker, I don't like this guy, but he did show something I wanted to show you. But what you're going to start seeing are these bigger chains that I've been talking about, like the Best Buys, the Targets, your Walmarts, all of these type of things that are going to start closing down stores because they're going to start taking such massive losses. They're not making profit like all of these fucking other places. They're on track right now to lose over $1 billion this year to an increase in shoplifting. Well, what do you think's going to happen when nobody has anything? They're going to shoplift. All of these new laws, these retail, these people working at these stores, they can't even go after you. They're not even supposed to call the cops unless you steal a certain amount. People are going to be stealing more and more and more. Like I said, just wait a couple more months when people have nothing. This is why we all need to be educated, because I told you guys this is what's going to happen. And when it gets to this point, this is where we wake everybody up. This is where we wake everybody up. When people wake up and say, I'm working more hours than I ever have in my life, and I have less to show for it than ever. I'm never going to be able to retire. I'm going to work until the day I die. Am I going to have enough to leave my children? Are my children what future are they going to have? What kind of future is your child going to have? Can you imagine 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now? Is the new norm going to be living with your parents till you're 35? The age of living with your parents has drastically increased. And that's not anything to do with individuals. It has to do with circumstances throughout the entire fucking economy. We are the ants to these guys. We're nothing more than taxes. We're nothing more than votes. And when they can't get enough votes, you see them pour illegal immigrants into the country. You see them give them the job so they can say unemployment hasn't lowered. No, it hasn't, because you've given it to illegal people. So, yep, you're right. They're technically still employed. But they shouldn't be. They shouldn't even be here. You need votes. You're losing votes. Go ahead and get them on in. This is my point. They don't care. They will do anything and everything. And eventually, this is all going to blow up in your face because you cannot keep doing the trajectory rate that you are doing. You have made bubbles in every single aspect of your economy. Every aspect. Everywhere you turn, it's at a bubble that's at crisis levels, matching crisis levels, breaking old crisis levels. It's at every single time I've shown you guys, every single time I've had a stream. Guys, guess what? We just broke fucking all-time credit card debt. Guys, guess what? We just broke all-time national history debt in the United States. We broke this. We broke this. Everything's at an all-time high. Treasury rates everything is going up and up. Repos are leaving. These treasury rates are getting so attractive, they're going to keep leaving the repos. They're no fucking longer needed. Money market's going to get so attractive, these rates are going to be ridiculous. Nobody can look away. And that's what's going to be insanity. That's why I look over at these hedge funds. What are you fucking doing? There's going to be a bomb here. The right, or the left, is going to get more attractive. It's going to keep spiking up higher and harder because they're going to keep going up. What are you doing if you're a hedge fund shorting this? What the fuck are you guys thinking? You're thinking that the United States is going to basically, in the end of it all, just say fucking default on it all? Shit's fucking insanity, dude. Like, what is going on right now is these, like I said, these guys will destroy the fucking world. They will let it burn at all costs to let themselves fucking stay in power. It is fucking disgusting. Now, one of the things, what the hell was on this tab? Because it wasn't this. Okay, here we go. But I should have put this earlier with the spending, but this is my point. Every time we just spend, the word billions. I mean, you guys don't comprehend how much money that is anymore nowadays. Like, we sit there and say billions, and nobody even, like, we don't even bat an eye about it. Billions have become the new million. Think about that. You shouldn't have 100 billionaires out there. Jeff Bezos shouldn't have been able to just hand his wife $40 billion and just call it a day on that divorce. No big deal. Shit like that is fucking insane. They say they should not get 4.5 billion. Think of what we could spend on that in our own country to help our own people, to go help Maui, to go do all sorts of things. You send that to Maui, that completely fixes everything. Every single person can have their house rebuilt, upgraded, everything. All the stores can come back. But instead, you're going to keep sending more and more. We've already sent like $100 fucking billion to Ukraine. But I showed you JP Morgan and BlackRock have a $500 billion deal to rebuild Ukraine. And then we saw that not even, a week ago, that all those fucking corrupt pieces of shit had a meeting in Ukraine, because what he's doing is, anybody that doesn't understand that Ukraine is there to funnel and do money laundering and just corruption, you're a clown. I mean, the biggest corruption in the United States is rebuilding their economy. JP Morgan and BlackRock, the biggest fucking corruption in all United States. So then they call up their buddies to make sure that they can get a little bit more money. Hey, Ken Griffin. Hey, all these other all the biggest piles of shit that are just thieves that have stolen billions. Do you want to help get in on this? Do you want to get in on this $500 billion deal? That's what that meeting was about. How much more money can we go ahead and take away? How much can you deposit? The fucking guy, like I said, it's a fucking absolute, dude, the crime in the world right now is insane. It is truly insane. And then you sit there and what are the ways that we can get out of this stuff? Crypto is how you can protect yourself from all this inflation and all this crap. And what do? Now you have, this is in the UK, and this is more reason. Again, if you're in a bank and a bank tells you what you can and cannot spend your money on, why are you still in that fucking bank? Get the hell out of there. Like, what? What they're doing now is because they want CBDCs. What they're doing is, guess what? Chase, all these people, Citi, they developed, so they didn't want CBDCs. Everybody freaked out about CBDCs. So what did they do? They rebranded them to tokens. So now they go, well, we have our TTS tokens. You can come and buy your TTS tokens. You can do the TTS tokens across they can go across, the globe. We can do instant transfers across the globe, just like crypto is supposed to do. Blah blah blah. Well, what do? You stomp out the fucking competition. How do you stomp them out? Everybody stop buying crypto. We're not going to allow you to buy crypto. But what do? We're doing it for your own good. We're doing it because of the fraud. We're doing it because of all the scams in crypto out there. We don't want you guys buying and supporting these frauds and crypto scams, so we're just going to not allow you to buy this. You already saw this happen in Canada. Now you're seeing it happen in the UK. And again, this is going to happen. More and more countries are going to start developing this. They're just obviously, just like you always do, test run here, test run there. All right, now let's go ahead and bring it into the American market. Crypto is a massive threat to them. That's why they said it was a massive threat to national security when they were talking about crypto all this time. Well, it's a national threat to national security because if everybody stops buying dollars and does this and everybody just suddenly just buys crypto and blah, 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 it can hurt the dollar and do blah, blah, blah. No, you mean you don't like it because you're not in charge of crypto. That is the only reason why the government doesn't like it. It's money that they're not in charge of. They can't control. They can't control the price. the price. They have no, that's why they want all the regulations. But fuck it. That's the purpose of crypto, is to not have all this shit. So fuck off. Like I said, SEC trying to get involved. These guys trying to sit there and now do, oh yeah, you can't buy this. We're going to cut you off here. Like I said, if there's ever a reason to get out of these banks, one, you're making 4.5% less in interest. 4.5% less in interest. That's what you're making right now. And some of you are making 5% less in interest. That's fucking insane. That's a lot of money. Now they're going to restrict what you can and cannot buy. I've already shown you guys how many times. I can just go on my Twitter right now. How many times have I shown an article? Hey, this guy's account, they're freezing out people's money. This guy froze out $133,000 from somebody who got a big check and needed that money. Oh, they froze this guy out. They're continuously, here's Dougie Fresh not paying his bills. Here's the other thing. Look at all these pieces of shit. Instead of paying their fees, why is the SEC broke? Why are all these companies broke? Because these guys are supposed to be paying fees for stuff. And instead of them paying fees, they're paying 19%. 0.9% from Robinhood, 15%, and then they're getting the other 80% exempted. That is why there's no money anywhere. Because these guys, they're apparently so broke they can't pay their fees, but yet they can pay all the fines. Like I said, it's a complete fucking joke, dude. But like I said, if you're in any of these banks, there is zero. Here's this dude taking gold bricks. Yields, like I said, look at the yields on these things, and they're just spiking and spiking. Here's Citadel right here. This is when they went ahead and, like I said, they started their own firm. They still had access to Citadel's information. They were giving that to people to entice them to join their firm. So they were giving out your trading information. Fucking insanity. Here's your Project Flickr, but whatever. I'm not going to keep going down. But we'll end it on his nose growing because he's a fucking pile of shit. But I'm going to go back. But like I said, these guys, people are starting to figure it out. I've been saying this to you guys for years. Credit unions, credit unions, credit unions. Here's how you fight back. Everybody asks me, how do we fight back? What do we do? If you guys don't want to protest, if that's not a thing where people go, no, that's not viable, we'll let this. You can let the system crash on itself. You can keep doing what we're doing. Buy and hold, keep making AMC as profitable as we can, and the system will collapse on itself. I'm showing you we're going to get into more data here in a second. The system will collapse on itself. It's impossible for this to not collapse at this point. Like I said, in every historical data point, you have broken everything. You have surpassed every single major financial crisis in this sector, this sector, this sector, this sector. Something's coming. Something big is fucking coming. And like I said, the fact that these idiots are shorting treasuries at a historic rate while we're buying treasuries at a historic rate and we're working into the money markets at a historic rate, I just don't understand. It's fucking ridiculous. But how do we fight back? I don't care what stock you own. They're all fucking manipulated. They're all manipulated as shit. I really don't care. I've told everybody forever, you guys got to stop fighting each other. You really do. I don't give a fuck if you don't like AMC. I don't give a shit if you have GME. I don't think if you think GME is the only play, guess what? I think the same thing about AMC, but I don't think it's the only play. I think it's the biggest play. I think that AMC has been manipulated at such a massive fucking rate. It is unbelievable. And nothing out there. There's nothing out there like it. And that's my personal opinion. You don't have to agree with me. That's fine. But all of us have something in common. Our stock is being shorted to fuck. Our stock is being manipulated. Our stock is being bashed on media. Notice they all have the same thing in common. Notice how we're all saying the same thing. Hey, this could be this to trigger off this. It's all the same thing. But instead of somebody else saying their stock, you attack them. We're all being fucked. We're all being fucked together. Can you imagine back in the day? And I've shown you, we basically are slaves to the system at this point. We just have just enough more freedoms that they slowly take away. But could you imagine back in the day if all the slaves, instead of going, hey, it's the owner's fault, all these pieces of shit doing this horrible act, they looked at each other and go, well, you do this, or you work on this, and you work on this, or you do this. So you're not the same boat. No, we're all in the same boat. We're all getting fucked. All of us need to come together at this point. We all need to sit there and like I said, I can't even go into another stocks space call without instantly they freak out. I can't have another person I can't even see when I'm in an AMC space call another person come in and talk about a stock for 1 second, or hey, this is going on over here. No, that's not AMC, shut up. No, if it's relevant to crime, if it's relevant to what they're doing in the background, we should all listen to each other. We're all discovering different information, and it's all leading to the same criminals. Don't shut somebody out or push people away because they're getting fucked too in a different way. Look at how they're getting fucked and see if it's applied to you as well. But these are the ways. Guys, like I said, you have an opponent. They fucking hate you. They want you to lose every penny you have. That's their goal. They want your stock to go to zero. That's their goal. They don't care about anything else you care about. So learn how they make money. Learn what companies they have. Learn what they do and attack their revenue stream. Attack their collateral. If you're in a bank that is not a credit union in any way, shape, or form, or if it's one of the big major banks, go to a credit union. They're not NISDA. They're not even insured by the FDIC. They're in their own insurance. They don't have the risk. They don't have massive members with hundreds of millions of dollars. It's all your average person, and they give them better rates, better loans, better everything. On top of that, the members run it. So the members go, well, my account's in here too, so I want what's best for my account to grow as well. Compared to a piece of shit fat cat in a bank that is a criminal doing crimes every single day, unspeakable crimes, that doesn't care about you or your money. What he cares about is how much money he can triple off your money through fucking the banking reserve system. Because he doesn't need to have a single penny of your money. Remember, when COVID came, they changed it to 0%. Banks need to have 0% reserve right now. They didn't abolish that rule. So banks don't need to have any money on hand. They can loan and do whatever they want with every single penny you hand them. And they will. And that's why when you ask them for a big withdrawal, they go, nope, what do you need it for? Blah, 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 blah. Can I talk you out of it? Let's think of what else we can do. Nope, you can blow me and give me my money. Get out of payment for order flows. I don't even give a shit if you use Robinhood for looking at charts. Delete it. Just it's like Facebook. Just remove the damn Band-Aid. Just remove it. Just remove the Band-Aid. Your life will be a lot better, I promise, after. You won't miss it. You might for a couple of days, maybe a week, and then you'll never think about the trash again. But you always want it to be there just in case. No, fuck it. Get rid of it. If you don't understand the Greeks and options, don't play them. They have hit you guys, us, every time. And when people go, why do you say you guys? Because I'm not sitting here playing AMC options up and down. They have been smashing people on options on max pain every fucking week, left and right, for years. Don't get abolished by that. Don't keep getting losses and losses if you don't understand how to play them. There's a lot of different aspects that go into playing options. If you don't get it, just learn. That's like, if you want to learn options, there's so many videos on the internet. So many ways you can learn how to do these. Pay off your credit cards. They have $1 trillion in credit card debt. This is one of their biggest collaterals right now. If we start paying off our credit card debts, they can fuck off. That's so much. If they lose $1 trillion in collateral, holy shit. If you're in a credit union, if you finally move to a credit union, if you can afford to refinance a loan, a car, if it's recent, obviously if you got like the 2% and stuff, I'm not saying do anything stupid, obviously, if it benefits you. But there are so many people that if you go to a credit union, they save so much money on their loans. They get such better rates. I have been messaged so many times by so many people. They use your loans as collateral, and then they sell them off to this. They package them up. They make them trenches. I've shown you even student loans, everything. That's what they do. They take every single asset, every single contract, every single loan that is a bad loan, that is a high-risk loan. They repackage them. They resell them through securitization, and it's just a gong show. It's just a fucking gong show. And then they pay rating services to give them higher ratings than they should be. They haven't learned their lesson. Like I said, I've shown you they're doing it now with student loans. They're called slabs. Like I said, it's just one fucking joke after the next. Like I said, always educate yourself and always learn what they're doing. Don't get bored on, and don't go, well, fuck, why do I need to know that? Your money's at stake. Some of you guys put your entire life savings in this years ago. Like, some people instantly just threw everything in there. So you should take, I mean, if there's ever something to learn about, it should be what's going on with your money and why it's going down. And then we need to start figuring out what the fuck we can do to fuck these guys. Other than making AMC or whatever you're holding as profitable as you can. Because I don't care what anyone says. Fundamentals are the biggest fuck you to shorts. If I can cut the well of dilution off because there's profitability there, and I can pay down debt through profitability instead of dilution, their entire game is over. We outnumber these fuckers. Always remember, in the end of the day, we outnumber these fuckers 10,000 to 1. We do. They even said it in the movie. This movie has a lot more real life impact than anyone realized when they watched it. Because this is literally what they view you as. Remember the bar scene? Who cares? Why should we go back to the ants? We have enough food to last the winter. And then he goes, it's not about fucking how much food we have. It's about putting them in line. That is how they think. Literally, that is their fucking mentality. You are a taxpayer and a vote to them. Nothing more. These guys have been dehumanized. And that is why I fucking hate them so much. And that is why I want to expose all this shit. Because what we're going against is in fucking sanity. This is stuff that, like, you don't even, like, this is stuff like, you would see it, like, in a mafia movie, and then you'd be like, nah, that wouldn't fucking happen. Yeah, it did. Nah, they wouldn't have a sex island. JP Morgan and Jeffrey Epstein wouldn't have a sex island where they... How many fucking... I don't know. Obviously, I have no idea. How much do you pay to traffic a person or to have a sex crime with a person? I have no idea. How much is 1 billion plus in human trafficking? How many people is that? How much is that? How many people is that? How many people got trafficked and got it brushed off for 75 million? How many people is 1 billion? I mean, this should make you throw up. Children, you guys, children. Fucking insane. Like, it's just honest to God, fucking insane. And then you look over here, and this is what I'm talking about, you guys. This is more bubbles. This is more stuff that is going to come down and fuck these guys. This is showing you everybody in the middle class is to the point of they're going to pop. And when they pop, they got to know what the fuck happened. And that's when you need to come in. They fucking printed, they stole, they covered it up. The politicians pretended to be your friends while they pounded you in the ass. And then they passed you off to their buddy. And then they passed you off to his buddy. And then the SEC came over and said, I'm going to slap you for not using a condom. Here's 10 cents. Guess what? The damage was done. Americans are defaulting on their credit cards and auto loans at levels not seen since the financial crisis. Middle class is basically running out of everybody's running out of savings. A lot of people, I showed you guys about a month ago, there was that survey done. And it was like 60% of middle class couldn't afford even a $700 emergency. Holy fuck. Can you imagine that? If a $700 emergency happened to them, they would lose their house. That high of a number. That is how many people are working more hours than they've ever had to basically keep what they've had their whole life. Eventually, they will ask where the fuck this is going from. Yes, Jimmy doesn't have debt, but they also don't have a ton of profits either. AMC in Q4, like I said, people that don't understand how much this Taylor Swift is going to do for AMC. I think AMC and I mean, like I said, I could be wrong. It could be way higher than this, especially with it. I don't see how AMC isn't profitable a couple hundred million in Q4. I really don't. I think that we could easily have a 2.8, 2.9, especially with this Taylor Swift thing. Q4, and then if you add all the distribution, the increase in percentage that they get when they show the video or the movie themselves. I mean, good grief, the tins. Can you imagine the amount of popcorn tins and the merchandise? And now it's going to be worldwide. And if you already had 125 million just in domestic, this was pre worldwide announcement. If this goes up to 300, 250, 300, and you already have 100 million in pre-sales, like I said, this million could cross 400, 500 billion in 2 weeks. I mean, million, sorry. This could cross, not billion, this could cross 500 million in the first 2 weeks. And then what are people going to say? Like I said, this is AMC. This is the biggest movie in Q4, and AMC is going to get the biggest profit margin out of it. And on top of that, one of their biggest competitors, Adam Aaron, told them to stick it up their ass. If you don't want to pay me top dollar for this, you're not going to show it. And then that hurts you. And now they're going to instead come to my theaters in the same town that your theaters are there, because you're not going to be able to show it. You're not able to show the biggest movie in Q4. Stick it up your ass. Like I said, this is AA doing work. This is AA giving the middle finger to one of his biggest competitors, but still getting money off them through Regal. That's a game changer. Now, like I said, credit card debt is defaulting on it, and this is talking about since 2008 levels. Credit card, like I said, auto loans, you have people paying now $745 a month for a car. $2,600 a month for a house. $3,500 a month for a car and a house. Good one. Who the hell's making that much? Now you need to add insurance. Now you need to add, obviously, your utilities, all the fun stuff. Car insurance. You gotta get groceries. God forbid you have a child. If you have a child, the amount of money you need to make, like I said, it's unreal. You need to make over 100,000 if you have a kid, easy. Baby boomers, homelessness rate is basically massively rising. Go into this in the study here in a sec. Baby boomers it's not this level, it's raising at a rate not seen since the Great Depression. We're moving into Great Depression numbers over here. You're moving into bubbles over here that are unheard of. Like I said, our country right now is, you have politicians. I mean, there's basically, you know that one GIF? This one? This is basically what's going on. You literally have your politicians. Everything's good, you know. Biden's over here eating his fucking ice cream cone. Why do you think we have a guy who doesn't know where he is? Biden's got Alzheimer's or something, dementia. He's got something. He's not all there. Let's be honest. He shouldn't be a president of the fucking United States. That dude has no business being. That dude needs to be in a nursing home. He needs a pudding cup in his hand and an ice cream cone in the other. And he needs to be sitting there watching cartoons in a wheelchair and just fuck off. The dude's a complete piece of trash. He needs to take his little kid. Worry about your son. You obviously, if you can't even take care of your kid, what are you gonna do with this? Like, dude, I hate this guy. I hate Joe Biden, dude. I hate him. God, I hate this dude. But like I said, at this point, you have every single bubble blowing up to the point of it should have popped a while ago. But then they added more gum. And then they added more gum. And you're like, okay, eventually, I don't care how much gum you add, it's going to blow up. And you're already at this. Dude, the bubble's already bigger than your head and body. And it's like, and that's the thing. I mean, I know a lot of people, yeah, like, I'm not sitting here like, oh, I'm pro this, pro Trump, pro anything. I'm not Republican. I'm not Democrat. They're all fucking piles of trash. They all don't care. Red or blue don't care. They don't give a fuck about you. I've said that forever. Neither one of them care about you. They care about your vote. So they'll give you empty promises, and then the second they get in the government, they don't give a shit if they get kicked out the next term, because guess what? During the term, they just made millions of dollars by being corrupt, and they know that their terms might be limited, so they're more corrupt than they would have been. Like I said, Citizens United needs to be abolished. Lobbyists need to be abolished in the United States. Nobody should have more say than anybody. Corporations, dark money. Dark money needs to be fucking abolished. What is the one thing in all dark money has in common? It's always the criminals that are donating. It's always the criminals that work on the dark money committee. I showed you guys, I can't remember the dumbass's name. There was that dude in the FTX, and his whole job was to literally fly from state to state to bring politicians to dinner. I showed you his name. I can't remember his fucking name. And just bribe them and give them donations to their campaign. That was his entire job. 365 days a year, he drove around, or he flew around, and he bribed politicians. That's all he did. He literally had no other purpose. It said in his job function, it was literally it was like advisory of political donations, and that's all he did. He just drove around, he just flew around, went out on fucking $1 million dinners and all that shit, whatever they needed to do, spend $1 million at the strip club, whatever these guys wanted. It's a joke. But at this point, you have to look at it and go, what is going to pop? What is going to pop first? Because what bank's going to be the bank that's going to crash? And it looks like it's going to be Bank of America. That's going to set it off. You had $1 trillion leave the banking system this year and go. $900 billion went into the market money funds. Think about that. It's only going to get worse. By this time next year, 1.5 plus trillion will have left the banking system and will have went into market funds and treasury notes. That's insane. But I got to get going here, guys. It's 11:30. I got to get up early here in the morning. I went over all my tabs, but like I said, guys, at every single point, everything is reaching levels of all-time highs. All-time highs. I know we're sitting here like, oh man, this sucks. They can't keep it up. They can't keep it up. Too many people are losing everything. Too many people are going to start saying, where did this all go? And too many people, like I said, this is where you guys need to be there to show them why they lost it all. Don't let them get away with it again. When this next crash happens, there cannot be a bailout of any bank or any hedge fund. This thing I showed you where they got secret 1.2 trillion bailout last time, this shit's got to stop. This shit has got to fucking stop. We cannot allow them to be getting these massive bailouts. Like I said, they can't. This is just insane, dude. But nothing but good news for AMC as a company. Fundamentally, like I said, this Taylor Swift thing, if you don't understand just how big this is going to be, just off the news and I don't want to promote this guy since he's a jab promoter. I don't like Travis Kelce. It has nothing to do with the individual himself. It has to do with the numbers. Since he found out that he was involved with Taylor Swift, next thing you notice, he instantly became a top 5 jersey selling, 400% increase, and this is all in one day, and he gained 300,000 social media followers. I mean, dude, like I said, the Taylor Swift effect, there is definitely a Taylor Swift effect out there. So if you don't, like I said, this is going to this could be $1 billion worldwide. I don't see how it couldn't be. Every single mom that couldn't afford to go to this concert with their kids are going to see this. All the kids that were like, oh, I saw it this weekend are going to want, all their friends are talking about it. They're going to go see it. Like I said, the amount of people that love this girl is insane. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, it's literally insanity. But like I said, guys, one of the things we need to start doing is, like I said, communicate. What do we want to do? Do we want to go after brokers? Do we want to go after politicians? Do we maybe want to sue Citadel? Do we want to do anything like that? Do we want to let the system collapse on itself? What we got to start thinking of plans of actions, or we just let it collapse, keep buying and holding. And again, make your company as profitable as you can. It is the best way to say fuck you to shorts. That is why they're shorting your company in the first place. Thank you and have a good day, guys.